Hi, this is Dawn Goldberg with WritingFromYourSoul.com, and today's article for Fuel for Your Writing Journey is a little different. Instead of it being a lot of words for you to read, there are a few of those, I'm going to do a quick 5-minute exercise on writing from your soul. Actually, I'm going to go over 4 different exercises that you can do to help you tap into that deeper message, what it is you really want to say to your audience, and that you might be having a little bit of trouble figuring out how to say it. So I hope you enjoy these 4 quick exercises that you could turn to whenever you want to be able to write from your soul, and hope you find them a little fun and entertaining and wildly helpful. So one of the first exercises I want to share with you to write from your soul is looking out the window. Now, believe it or not, that really is a way to get in touch with what your soul has to say. Writing from your soul rarely happens at our desks, in front of our computers, with all the many distractions of social media and email and phone calls and people coming into the house, into the office, or even on the laptop in front of the TV, where we have lots of input coming in at us. What you really want to write from your soul is space, and a lot of times quiet, and many times time. You can't force writing from your soul, and so you need to give it the opportunity to come out. And so sometimes, yes indeed, that looks like staring out the window. Am I really staring out the window? Am I really looking at the trees and the road? Sort of, yes. And I'm relaxing my mind a bit to let whatever is in here burble up to the surface and come from here up to here. If I don't give it the time and the space and the quiet to do that, it's awfully hard to tap into that. So whatever that looks like for you, whether it's staring out the window, or it's exercising, or it's meditating, or it's simply sitting quietly, that is a great exercise to be able to write from your soul. So the next exercise I want to share with you is one of my favorites, and it is consulting the cards. And before you get all wiggy on, oh, I'm going to go all mystical on you, there are a lot of neat card decks, anywhere from traditional tarot card decks to inspirational cards like the Cheryl Richardson Grace card deck, to the wisdom of your dreams, to one of my favorites, which is Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. And one of the reasons I love it is because the art is just gorgeous. And then you also have things like the Writer's Toolbox, or the Observation deck, which is a card deck for writers. And I have to say, I love the cleverness and the wordplay for the Observation deck of cards. If my kids were here, they'd be like, yeah, we get it. How do I use these? Again, inspiration, decision, whatever. I also use it if I'm stuck, or in the case where I have no idea what to write about. So what I'll do is I'll take one of my trusty card decks, and I have a lot. I brought a whole bunch out here for this, and it took me 2 trips to carry all my card decks. Actually 3 trips, because I also have a basket with the beautiful Grace card deck from Cheryl Richardson, and they're just stunningly gorgeous. And that was probably the main reason why I got this particular deck, is because of the artwork, and it's so inspiring. And you can see that this particularly, there's a word that goes along with whatever the picture is. And of course, that appeals to me. And so what I'll do is I'll decide what card deck I want to use, and we'll do the Observation deck, a traditional writing one. And even though this is just a quick demonstration, I can't just pull the one off the top. I still have to do it kind of randomly. And I might fan it out, I might shuffle it, whatever, and then I'll pick whatever one just seems to be calling to me. And this one is eavesdrop. You know, you're in a coffee shop and you hear the two gals next to you talking and you kind of wonder what the backstory is or what's going to happen. That's the storyteller in you. And so if I were needing to write my next fuel article, for example, and I pulled this card, that might actually be what I'd write about, is where do you find inspiration? Where do you figure out what to write about? You could eavesdrop, and it doesn't necessarily mean eavesdrop, but it means write down everything you hear. The dialogue, the people behind you on the bus or on the subway or at an airport, at a restaurant. You know, you see the couple and you can just tell they're fighting. And so you might think about, you know, why might that be? All sorts of things. So even in just this quick, very off-the-cuff example, I came up with an idea for a future article, so you might see that coming soon. So if you're not into decks and you don't have 5 million like I seem to have, then what do? Well, you can use the same idea all around you. What inspires you? What books? What magazines? Your values list, if you've done traditional coaching exercises. Any of that. Go to where you might have those kinds of things stored. If you have a values list, if you have your stack of magazines, you have your favorite self-help book or your favorite business book or your favorite fiction book, and just open it up and see what words or phrases does your eye light upon. And then that is going to inform your soul. It's going to connect with that, and you can't help but start that process of that step and that thought, and that leads to the next thought, and that leads to the next thought, and pretty soon you've gone a little deeper than perhaps you have before. So yet another exercise that I actually use when I need and want to write from my soul, which should hopefully be all the time, right, is music. So what you'll see on the screen is my Apple TV, which is synced to my iTunes, and you're getting to see and probably make fun of me all the various albums that you can see there. And the reason, and I'll explain a little bit why this is actually making the list of the Writing from Your Soul exercises. So if I were to go to my music and my playlists, and I have a lot of playlists because I also share this with my family, and I would go down to one of my favorite ones, which is a healing and meditation playlist. And I just put it on shuffle and I play. And then I can sit in the living room in front of the big picture window, away from my computer, away from my laptop, away from distractions, and be able to write. And is it the music? Is it the getting away from my desk? Is it being in a beautiful environment? Who knows? But what I can tell you is the combination of all that is really important. Having the music and the images, I have the slideshow screensaver is from a folder in my picture library of my favorite pictures, and so it just cycles through those favorite pictures and plays this music, and it's a wonderful place, and I don't just mean geographically, it's a wonderful head space and soul space to be in. So while this exercise is specifically about music or something meditative, it's a little bit bigger than that. It's really perhaps getting out of your routine, getting out of your office space, getting out of just that normal, everyday, humdrum, routine busyness. Because that's not always going to be conducive to us being able to uncover what we really want to say and be able to say it powerfully and with feeling. And so whatever that is for you, whether it's your iTunes working and music, going out in nature, whatever that might be for you, know what that is and go to that space and be able to write from your soul. So this last exercise that I want to share with you in today's article is a scary one. And I will be incredibly transparent and share with you that I almost didn't do it. I almost decided to keep it at 3 tools, 3 exercises, and you'd never be the wiser. You'd never know. And you'll see why in a moment, that why I didn't want to share it. And it's because it's based in fear. And that has a lot to do with writing from our souls, actually, and why we don't necessarily do it. Because we're afraid. We're afraid people will reject us. They'll go away. They won't like what we have to say. They'll laugh at us. They'll leave. And so we stay small, play small, and even write small. And so this last exercise is, what would you say or write if no one were watching or listening or looking or reading? What would you say? So that's why I was a little afraid to say it, because I'm going to share with you. And it's really not that big of a deal as I think about it, but in the moment it just feels so scary. And so as I thought about, well, what is it that I really would want to share with them that if no one were watching I'd say, and then as I logically went through it, I thought, there's nothing really bad about it. So I decided to include it so you could see. So that process is also something that I want you to be aware of, is that if we immediately shut down that inner voice that says, no, 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 don't do it, it's too scary, too risky, don't do it, then we never have the chance to let out what our soul wants to say. So here was the big brilliant idea I came up with when I said, all right, if I'm going to share this exercise with them and share with them what it is that I want to say or would say if no one were watching, what would that be? So I usually need a little title. What would I write if no one were watching? But what it would be just right. Damn it. And so that damn it is because in all my years of teaching English, teaching literacy to adults, teaching English as a second language, teaching writing to business owners, teaching writing for customer service to corporations, I have never run into anyone whom I felt was just a lost cause when it came to writing. That, oh, boy, they suck. Don't ever give them a pen or a keyboard. They should never even put words to paper or screen. Never run into that. Everyone has something to say and a gift in the way that they say it. One of the women in one of my writing classes eons ago, her writing just shone when she told stories. Whether it was business or personal, whatever it may be, or whatever it might have been, if she told it like a story, her writing was powerful, because that's kind of how she saw the world. And everybody has that. You have that. So you have whatever it is that you want to get out, and when you can tap into that and uncover it and get it out, the actual mechanics of the writing are less important than the power in which you've written those words. So think about, what would you write if no one were watching, and write it down. And you don't have to video it, you don't have to share it, but what that will probably do is allow some of those words to come out, and then be able to write them in a way that you feel comfortable with. I decided and figured out that I felt fairly comfortable with saying to you, just write, damn it, because you can. You have it in you. You are able to do that. So I hope you have found these 4 exercises helpful in writing from your soul, and I look forward to hearing and reading what you have to say. Thanks. And again, this has been Dawn Goldberg with writingfromyoursoul.com. Happy writing.